Monday, the 29th of October. Today, the topic for today is measuring and how do we measure things and why do we measure things. It's always been a big thing of mine. I think that actually when we talk about setting goals, one of the elements of an effective goal is it's got to be measurable. And I've also been a sports fan for quite a long time, and I know that, in sports they measure everything, and that's how they can tell where they're at, how they compare to others, and what they might need to do to get that number up or whatever it is. So if you think that you can set a goal and not measure it, you probably can do that, except that it's going to be very difficult to accomplish it because you've got to be able to measure. And when I say measure, I don't mean just, every once in a while. It's probably a good idea to set a habit of doing it probably daily, or some type of goals you might need to measure hourly, just depending on how it is that you're able to make the changes and the adaptations to make improvements. I know that if you decide that let's say, for example, you want to lose weight, and you've got to know where you are, where you're starting, and where you are where you want to be when you end. So let's say you start out at 250 pounds and you want to get down to 150 pounds. Well, if you don't measure, you don't know which direction you're going all the time while you're on your diet and your exercise program. You've got to do some measuring. So with that type of situation, you measure as often as you can. Set it on your regular date that you get on the scales, and that way you know where you're at, and you're able to say, well, gee, I realize I didn't lose any weight yesterday, and that's probably because I ate too much, or I didn't exercise at all, or whatever I did. And then you can also see the results of when you do the right thing and you eat less or eat healthier and exercise more, you'll see you lose weight. Measurements always are very important when you're trying to accomplish a goal. Just think about in baseball and sports. I mean, there's baseball especially. I mean, they measure everything, and they have stats for everything, so that they can tell where they are and where they need to be and what they might need to do. We just finished a World Series, and there was a lot of things. The decisions that the managers make are based on things that have been measured over the past. How many pitches the pitchers have pitched, whether they faced right-handed batters or left-handed batters, and whether you've got the right people in the field to play defense, and if you've got the right number of people in the right places on your roster your batting order in order to be able to score the runs. So it's all a matter of being able to measure, and that's very important in our own personal lives and in our business lives to be able to measure. Otherwise, we never know where we are unless we can tell where we are at any one time. So if you want, contact me. I'll help you set up a form where you can do some measuring, some Excel. You tell me what categories you want to keep track of, and I'll send you an Excel spreadsheet, and you can keep track every day, and that way you can keep watching all the time of what's happening. It's always a first real good, strong way of knowing that you're going to be able to accomplish your goals is by keeping tracking them and doing it daily, on a daily or maybe even hourly basis. Let's say your goal is to call 10 prospective customers a day. Well, if you're not counting how many you're doing, you don't know whether you need to work harder or work less. So it's important that you keep track of that, and also you can see your progress. You can track your number of calls versus the number of sales calls that are closed. So it makes you can see how effective you are. It's all important. That's why it's so important to do your tracking. So that's the word for today is measurement and measuring and keeping track. And have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next Monday morning, which will be the first Monday of the month of November. Oh boy. All right, I'll see you then.